Beast Boss is on foot. Beast Boss on foot with Follow Me Lads. Beast Boss and Squigosaur, WAAAGH, Not Smash Squid, Wappa Skill Chopper, Warboss can't even blue. So ability to fall back. He has paid for the 3 enhancements. He thought it was worth it, or he had odd points left over. 2 units of Beast Snaggle Boys for those Beast Bosses, 4 trucks, and boom, the Deffkoptas. I told you I'd bring the Deffkoptas to you. You talked about him enough in chat. I brought him to you, okay? I didn't forget. No, I'm just kidding. He obviously just did good on his own. But I wanted to make sure I showed the list real quick. That's why I was kind of in a hurry. Gretchen, 1 unit of knobs, but then he did the unthinkable. He brought the second unit of knobs, but it's small. Come on, Chad. We talked about this before. A small unit of knobs with the Warboss. I guess that's the thing too. If you're not worried about Overwatch, go ahead. It's easier to get in there, I guess. Cheaper. Can still punch it pretty well. And it doesn't have to punch into something necessarily too expensive, because now it's not really that expensive anymore. It's 170. And then the truck, of course. Squighog Boys, just 1 brick. I like that. Sometimes you see these kind of new leak lists, but they still bring the Squighog Boys. That way they have at least 1 viable way to punch out a real problematic enemy monster, or just like a land raider. Just throw it off the board. And then just 1 unit of Storm Boys, because they have the Deffkoptas and they have 4 trucks. So yeah, this was a different kind of orc list in its own way, but it was still very much the samey when you see it was a lot of Beast Snaggle Boys, right? Still though, he decided I'm going to bring Deffkoptas, and he did. So we'll just look very quickly at what he did, and then we'll move on to the closing. So we see he went to Custodes right away, so it's not like he had super easy matchups right away. Custodes, even though they've come down overall in the meta, remember guys, things are matchup dependent. When this army is built all to their ability traits into just fighting, that's why they went down in the meta. Everybody's like, oh, I could just shoot you now? I can shoot off the table? Yeah, for orcs, we're still like, yeah, we still have to interact with you on the table and on the board. So they still retain some of their strength with us. I still think we win, have the advantage. But with that change, I'm just saying that this makes them still something you have to pay attention to. You can lose. We've seen that in the stats. So Blade Champion, Shield Captain with Ceaseless Hunter, Trajan Valodis. And then now these small units, very much nice nerf that they're not 9-man units with crazy buffs anymore, just one-shotting everything. Prosecutors, Alaris Custodians, very good with their rerolls, durable, punchy, they're overall good. Wardens with their once per game, they could just decide we're gonna have 4 Feel No Pains. He did that twice. So I think it's a perfectly fine Custodes list. I think having triple tanks is probably a little bit better, but that's just my opinion. So we get into Thousand Suns. So he played, we've seen this, Armon, Exalted Sorcerers on disc, Infernal Master, Magnus, Thousand Sun Sorcerer. So not as many sorcerers, and just plug-in characters. Rubric Marines with Bolters instead, and Soul Reaper Cannon. Rubric Marines with the War Flamers right there. Another one, but this one is another Soul Reaper Cannon list and Soul Reaper Cannon. So they brought their bladers, their Bolters and Soul Reaper Cannons instead of all the Flamers. 1 unit of Zangos. A Rhino, of course, you still got to bring the 2 units of Mutalisk Vortex Beast. And here's a Scribe. So T-Suns are still, as you can see, he actually did lose this. It was a very close game. If you lose to 8, it's like a points difference thing that happens here. So it's not like a terrible loss right there. I don't think. Hopefully I'm right about that. But orcs can still lose to T-Sun, guys, especially if you're not bringing just Squighog Boys all over the place. Let's see. His third matchup was into other orcs, so we just reflect off that. Beast Boss on Squigosaur, WAAAGH, Not Smash Squig, Smash Squig, Warboss, and some more Warboss. Beast Snaggle Boys, still 4 truck, 1 unit of knobs, 2 bricks of Squighog Boys, and a small one. Storm Boys. So this looks kind of like a list I would run. I don't think I would run 2 units of Beast Snaggle Boys without the Beast Bosses, so I'd probably just like drop him and some of the enhancements. But yeah, this is a very much viable orc list, and he still has the Weird Boy for the jumping and trying to score. So it's still a decent list, but he got the advantage out on it. I think his had more cohesion and kind of ability to synergize. But yeah, that shout out to Casper Whale. So we're going to his 4th matchup, Astra Militarum. So these guys, the no touch, I don't know who they are, but they want you to look at them. So there you are. There's the thing if you want to look at them. Gons goes, Lord Solar Leontis, Platoon Command Squad, Ursula Creed. So this is the same exact list we've seen go into the other orc player. So what happened is he lost the game. The orc player, our current orc player, Arik, lost his game. So he ended up playing the same guy that lost to the Bjorn, and then he ended up beating him too. So boom, he beat him as well. Bam. So we did go over that list already. I'm not skipping it. I just wanted to show you. So we get Big Chungus Necron supposedly. So Hexmark Destroyer, Technomancer, the Silent King, Scarabs, Canoptic Spiders. These are like a Forge World thing. They're not amazing, I believe, but for 75 points, they could be good. Heavy Destroyer. I like them in their individual units. More utility for the Necron player. Monolith. So that's why he's at Chungus, because he brought all of the Monolith. I'm not sure how he get around the table, play the board that well. How did he end up doing? He put up, that's a pretty one-sided game when he was 18, almost 20 exact points. I can't really say much about that. I don't, that's a very skew kind of meme list, but he was trying his hard at, I'm sure, and I'm sure it beat somebody. And we'll look at the Tyranids. So again, another invasion sleep. Again, what do we see? Hive Tyrant, Nero Tyrant, Death Leaper. And then we'll see one Knight. This list has both of them. All 4 of them, sorry. Barbgon still with reduced movement, Biovores, Carnifexes, Exocrine, Maliceptor, Maliceptor. I think Maliceptors are excellent. They get the -1 bubble to hit. They give flat 3 damage in melee and in their psychic power. So these are something to look out for. Exocrines are just annoying and useful all the time. 2 Neurolictos instead of 3. And then Power just straight up, because for 30 points, I would always bring them 2. And then 2 units of Swarm. This list seems like it just doesn't have as much to walk around the table. Carnifexes are not that efficient. You could just bring old One Eye by himself, and he's more efficient than those guys. So, but he did win 15 points right there. So those were the orc lists. I wanted to show you them both. I want me to bring any more up that you've seen. We can go over them again. Remember, this is just a pretty kind of standard, nothing out of the box beast boss snagger list with Deffkoptas in. Just decided to go for it. Maybe more durability. Not sure, but it was worth bringing up anyways. And then Bjorn with his kind of a bit different Gazgul list with Mad Dog Grosnick, with the green tie, with the Gaz calling the wall, give them all lethal, just running up there and just beating people up. So, and you still have the Mech Workshop, which is funny. He was just flexing on people with that. So Bjorn, you get my flavor of the week mark. Whoa! You get my flavor of the week mark. All right.